Hose, Katze, sind dir nicht sicher?
What's wrong with you? Hey!
Verdammt, sie haben uns gefunden!
What the fuck? I was just walking in the park. Who the fuck are you? Speaking German?
Keine Angst, wir sind von AATV.
Achtung, die Freiheitsstatue ist kaputt.
Das Weißbier schmeckt echt dufte. Mein Mercedes ist der schnellste auf der Autobahn.
Ich mag Schnitzel am liebsten mit Mamas Apfelstrudel.
Bollocks. Forget about this shit. No offense, laugh or bad English, and we can't disappoint him now, can we?
As always, you're right, and I got the feeling that the hard subber is doing bullshit anyway.
It's true that we are going for gas blowback versions of two true German guns.
The Heckler & Koch MP5A2 and the G36C.
The old German dog is another reason. These airsoft guns are full licensed by Heckler & Koch. That's because Umarex, a German company, secured the rights for the HK brand and sued anyone who even dared to make airsoft guns that look like Heckler & Koch models.
We don't like these Nazi methods, so even if these airsoft guns are sold as Umarex MP5 and G36, we will refer to them by their real manufacturer, VFC.
Now that we finished ranting about the license Gestapo, we can finally start the review. This is the VFC MP5A2 gas blowback. It costs about $370 or 450 euro in the Umarex occupied Europe. As many of you gun nut wise guys probably noticed already, the gun is called A2, even though it has a Navy style trigger group which makes it more like an A4 than an A2. The A2 variant has the fixed buttstock. There is also an A3 model with the retractable buttstock available. You can also buy the retractable stock separately, so you can switch stocks within seconds, making the A2 into an A3 variant.
This is the VFC G36C gas blowback. It costs about $260 overseas and about 370 euro in the Umarex occupied EU territories. The C version is the only one currently available, but the manual hints that at least a full-length version is planned. The stock has the correct C model length and the trigger group has SEF markings, like the German Army issued G36 rifles.
I'm lucky enough to own a real MP5, and from the first time I picked up that VFC MP5, it just felt as it should be. It weighs 2.8 kg and, believe me, it's rock solid. The finish of the steel body and the steel magazine is very close to the real steel MP5. Heck, except for the front sling swivel, everything non-plastic is made of steel on this MP5. A small downer for you wall-hanging lovers. The finish of the steel parts tears off pretty easily. In case of the magazine, the paint just goes off from inserting it. Speaking of plastic, the plastic parts are a bit lighter than the original MP5 parts and a bit less textured, but they still feel great. One of the good things of the Umarex license Blitzkrieg, the MP5 has all the markings on the body and the magazine, except for the additional 6mm markings at the top and the additional trademark blah blah.
Well, the VFC G36C doesn't give me such a hard-on as Carl gets when touching the MP5.
You wouldn't even get a hard-on if you'd Viagra like M&M's.
Deine Mutter hat sich noch nicht beschwert. Anyway, the G36 weighs about 2.5 kg and, like on a real thing, nearly everything is plastic. The color and texture is okay, and it's probably one of the best G36 out there. But it's lightweight and a little bit shaky handguard just don't give me the same great feeling as on the MP5. Also, there are a lot of visible plastic joints and the front side protector looks like it's poor quality plastic. At least the folding stock is rock solid, either in the folded or open position. The markings on the left side are realistic. The right side of the body is a victim of the license wars. One in black and one in grey, so that everyone knows that you're an Umarex bitch.
Let's talk about the realism of the MP5 once more. You can use real steel upgrades like the Surefire MP5 light handguard. The dimensions are so damn realistic that you can even install a real steel trigger group, but you can't use it actually, believe me, I tried it. What's too bad is that you can't install a real steel MP5 stock because of the different size of the recoil spring. Attaching airsoft scope mounts might be a bit tricky because of the steel receiver's dimensions, but they work. A bigger problem is the free lug barrel. Some airsoft suppressor adapters and flash hiders won't fit, as well as real steel flash hiders. So you might need to do some filing and fitting if you want to put a suppressor on this MP5. I'm not entirely happy with the sights. Compared to the real rear sight, the airsoft one has different hole sizes and it doesn't click into position completely. But whatever, this is airsoft, so you probably won't even notice if your sights are slightly off. The fire selector is another small downer. It's not snappy enough and you can turn it past the safety position. Good news for the realism freaks, the magazine just holds 30 BBs. Bad news for everyone else, the hop-up is extremely bad placed. You have to take off the stock, flip open the trigger group, remove the bolt and use this extra long Allen screw to adjust it.
You should be happy to finally handle something extra long.
Halt's Maul, lite Schwanzsauger. Just one last thing before we finally go to the shooting part of this review. The trigger is pretty light and smooth for an airsoft gun. Oh, and of course, the famous HK slap works. The recoil is pretty good, on full auto and on semi-auto. Not much to complain here. And by not much, I don't mean nothing. The rate of fire is a bit lower than on the real MP5. On a hot and sweaty summer day, the power goes up to 400 FPS using 0.2 gram BBs and green gas. However, using full auto, there is a cooldown effect, so you might wanna do controlled bursts.
Wow, finally. I thought the guy would never stop talking. G36 time again. I don't own a real one, so I can't tell which real parts will fit and which not. A real handgun should fit, but I wouldn't spend my money on a real steel G36 combat sight or stock. Talking about the handguard. It has the threads for additional rails, but they're not included. Shame on you, VFC. At least one rail would have been nice. The flash hider can be screwed off to reveal a 40mm negative thread for attaching suppressors or tracer. As on the MP5, the rear sight can't keep up with the rest of the gun. But you got a huge rail anyway, so put a red dot on and you're good to go. The fire selector snaps good into position, but the trigger pull is a bit too heavy for my taste. Talking about heavy, the magazine, which holds 30 BBs, weighs close to 560 gram. That's 20% of the gun's weight. By pushing this lever back, you can deactivate the bolt cage to dry fire the G36. To adjust the hop up, pull the bolt handle back and push this button to lock it into the open position. Now you can adjust the hop up with this lever. Pull the bolt back again, release it and you're ready to fire. The G36 has about 390 FPS using green gas and 0.2 gram BBs. The blowback is stronger than on the MP5 and puts a really satisfying smile in your face.
I'm not easily impressed, but this MP5 is VFC's masterpiece so far. Of course, it ain't perfect, but it's the most realistic, best looking and feeling airsoft MP5 you can get. Besides the high price, there is probably just one reason not to buy the MP5A2 or A3. If you're waiting for the release of an MP5 SD5 or SD6 gas blowback, which will be hopefully soon.
There ain't much negative to say about the G36C either. It is better than the WE G36C gas blowback, it works as it should, and its blowback is pure joy. The only downer, it is a G36C. That's not VFC's fault, but heck, there are so damn many G36Cs and copies of the copies around that it isn't that special anymore, even with gas blowback. That's it with today's video review.
And because of all the Germans that ask us on YouTube why we don't speak German, we will say our goodbyes in German.
Lieber Sauerkraut ohne Bratwurst als AATV in Deutsch.
Kartoffelente.